YouTube traffic, this is 345 Delta Foxtrot, ready to record another YouTube video. YouTube traffic. This is my disclaimer, same as in my last video. In my last video, I recommended that you have your lawyer review this disclaimer. I believe some of you haven't done that yet, so this is your second reminder. Okay, today's topic is how much does it cost to build an RV-10? And we are in June of 2024, so all the prices are going to be as of that date. If you're watching this video in the future, you'll have to adjust things as you think is appropriate. Okay, the place to start is with the kits from Van's Aircraft. If you're building an RV-10, you're going to need 4 different kits. You're going to need the empennage kit, the wing kit, the fuselage kit, and the finishing kit. So the prices are given here. The cheapest one is the empennage kit. And my speculation is that Van starts you off with a somewhat less expensive kit. To kind of sucker you in and get you started building an airplane and make it so that you have some skin in the game and you're more likely to keep ordering additional kits. In addition to the kits, there's a significant amount of shipping cost involved. For Southern California, it costs about $1,000 a kit for shipping. Now this is going to depend on where you live. And you'll have to adjust it for yourself for that. And so the basic estimate that I'm going to use for the kits is $100K. Now, there's a lot of add-ons that you can get that are not included in that $100K. For example, if you want the quick build kit for the wings, the nice thing about that is you don't have to deal with the sealant for the fuel tanks, which is a little bit noxious and not so nice to deal with in general. But the disadvantage is it's another 12 to 13K to the price. There's a lot of other options from Vans and from third-party suppliers. You can get these Behringer wheels and brakes. They have sealed bearing wheels for an additional $4,200. And if you want the parking brake, that's another $700. And then in terms of third-party options, there's all kinds of options. The zip tips for the landing lights, the nicer upholstery, the nicer carpet, the overhead console, the lower console with the cup holders, just all kinds of options that you can get. And none of those are included in our price estimate here. Okay, if you're going to build an airplane, most people want an engine in their airplane. So I got these prices off of Van's website. You can buy your engine either from Van's or from Lycoming directly. The standard engine for an RV-10 is a Lycoming 540, which means it's 540 cubic inches. These are all prices for IO 540s, which means that they all have fuel injection. Just an O540 is carbureted, and it's a little bit cheaper, so keep that in mind. It also has a little bit less horsepower. The cheapest one on this list is the one with dual magnetos, and it's about $68K. The most expensive one on this list is the custom Thunderbolt option. That includes the electronic ignition, and that's about, call it $84K. And of course, there's going to be shipping for that as well. And I threw in $4K for shipping. Now, I have $80K for the engine estimate. You can clearly go less than that if you want to save a few bucks, and you can clearly go more than that, for example, with the Thunderbolt option. So this is something kind of in the middle. And if you're going to buy an engine for your plane, you probably want to buy a prop. Again, these are from Van's website. I have nothing for or against Hartzell Props, but I just kind of assuming that they're somewhat typical. The first prop on the list is a two-bladed aluminum prop, and it goes for about $12K. And then the next two props on the list are three-bladed composite props, and they're up in the $25 to $30K range. And as always, there's going to be a shipping charge for that too as well. So my estimate for a prop is $20K. Again, I kind of tried to pick something in the middle. Now, instruments vary quite wildly in terms of price and just in terms of, what instruments you want to add to your plane. In particular, you're going to have to decide if your plane is going to be VFR only or if it's going to be IFR capable. IFR is going to add significantly to the cost of your instruments. I just took a wild-ass guess here. That's a scientific term, wild-ass guess, of $40K. You're building a fairly nice plane, or at least a fairly expensive plane, so I think you're going to want a fairly nice set of instruments for it, and hopefully $40K is enough for a fairly nice set of instruments. You're going to need some tools to build your plane, at least most all of us do, unless you're already building aircraft. I recommend that you start with the Cleveland Aircraft toolkit, and the base price for that is a little over $4K. And you're going to need all kinds of additional tools, like bandsaw, drill press, air compressor, all kinds of hand tools. And you're going to need a lot of additional items like workbenches and shelving. A nice workbench can easily be $500 or more. Now, of course, you can build one yourself much cheaper than that. So my estimate for tools is $6K, and that's probably on the low side. You're probably going to end up spending a little bit more than that on tools. Okay, most people have their plane painted commercially, a nice professional paint job. You can paint it yourself, of course, and you can save a fair amount of money if you do that. But to try and kind of come up with a typical cost, I threw in $14K for paint. Okay, here's the grand total. $100K for the kits, $80K for the engine, $20K for the prop, $40K for instruments, $6K for tools, and $14K for paint. So that's a total of $260K. And as I already mentioned, that does not include a lot of add-ons. So that would be a nice plane, but it would probably not be a show plane that's IFR capable and has, every add-on that you can possibly think of. But then again, it wouldn't be a bare stripped down plane either. Okay, building an airplane like an RV-10 is an investment in both your money and your time. And so far we've been talking about your money, but how much is your time worth? One thing that's kind of interesting to think about is how much would it cost somebody like Elon Musk or Bill Gates to build something like an RV-10? I'm sure that their time is worth at least $10,000 an hour. So 2,000 hours times $10,000 an hour would be $20 million. So for them, the cost of the hardware is pretty much negligible, and it's all about their time. And you should think about it as well. You're going to be spending 2,000 hours building this plane. So is that how you want to spend your time? In this estimate, we're assuming 2,000 hours times $0 per hour. But clearly your time is worth something to you. And if this is not something that you consider fun, and this is not how you really want to be spending your time, then you should really think twice about undertaking a project like this, because 2,000 hours is quite an investment in time. Okay, so why go to all the trouble to build an airplane? Why not just go out and buy one? So I looked around for some somewhat comparable certified planes. I didn't spend a lot of time on this chart. So all these numbers are just kind of approximate. The first one is the Diamond DA-40, and that's about $450K. The second one is the Cessna 182. That's about $650K. And the third one is the Cirrus SR-22, and that's about $850K. And all those are base prices. I'm sure that the actual price, I'm sure there's a lot of add-ons, and the final price is going to be significantly higher than that. But you take the average, and it's about $650K. So you're spending on the order of $250K to build a plane, basically a $650K plane. Now, you can't actually sell it for $650K when you're done. There's still a very large premium for a certified plane over an experimental plane. So you might be able to build an RV-10 for $260K, but you're not going to be able to sell it for $650K. You might be able to sell it for $300K or something like that. So I saw this article recently in Kit Planes magazine. The article isn't all that recent, but I saw it recently. It's about buying a used RV-10, and it's fairly interesting. I recommend you check it out. It has kind of two aspects. One is, if you build an RV-10, what's your plane going to be worth when you're done? And the other aspect is, if you decide not to build it and you just buy a used one, how much is that going to cost you? So the article talks about improvements that have been made to the RV-10 over time. The RV-10 is a little over 20 years old. So it's been around a while, and there have been some changes to it. It also talks about various options and upgrades that people typically add to RV-10s. It talks about some problems that have occurred over the years, and some potential problems that you might want to look for in a used RV-10. And it includes 4 testimonials about RV-10s, 5 if you want to count the author. So, like I said, it's probably worth checking this article out. Okay, if you're starting to get serious about building an RV-10, you need to start planning in advance. Unfortunately, in my experience, Van's lead time estimates are pretty much worthless. For my wing kit, they were estimating a year lead time, and it showed up after 4 months, and it could have easily gone the other way. They could have been estimating 4 months, and it didn't show up for a year. So sit down, decide if this is something you want to do in advance, and then get your first kit or 2 on order. For example, say you're a school teacher and you want to start building on June 1st. Get your first kit and maybe your first 2 kits on order in January or thereabouts. Van's just put out this YouTube video, which is just kind of a general update. And in this video, they talk about the lead time for Lycoming engines. Currently, the estimate for delivery of a Lycoming engine is mid-2026. So that's 2 years away. Van's just went through this Chapter 11 bankruptcy thing last December. And my guess is they had several Lycoming engines on consignment, and Lycoming may have lost some money on the deal when Van's went through Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So Van's is not going to be on Lycoming's preferred vendor list, if that's the case. And perhaps you could get a Lycoming engine directly from Lycoming significantly sooner than that. I don't know. I haven't checked. But it is certainly a potential issue. And if you're getting within a year or so of needing an engine, you're going to want to start talking to Vans and Lycoming about their current lead time estimates. Also, if you're starting to get serious about undertaking a project like this, it's a big project in both your time and money. You should consider visiting the factory and talking to Vans. Take a look at their RV-10. Maybe you can even get a flight in it. And go prepared. Make yourself a good list of questions that you want to talk to them about. Send them the list of questions in advance so that they can prepare and talk intelligently about those questions. And some videos that you might want to watch before you do something like that, like visiting the factory, are these airplane design tutorials by Sonja Englert. I hope I pronounced that roughly correctly. She has, 20 or 25 airplane design tutorials. She has one on wing and stall speed, control surfaces, drag reduction, flutter, structural fatigue. So some very nice general topics that you might want to start learning a little bit more about, and might give you some good ideas for things to talk to Vans about if you go visit the factory. Okay, one thing that you're buying if you decide to build a Vans kit airplane is you're buying some history. Vans was founded in 1973, so it's over 50 years old now. And they've delivered over 10,000 kits, and Actually, they delivered significantly more than that, but 10,000 of the kits they've delivered are flying. They have a pretty substantial history, and I think that all of their airplanes are somewhat similar aluminum airframes. So they've been designing and building these kits for 50 years. The RV-10 is a little over 20 years old. It's about 21 years old now or something like that. The first RV-10 flew in May of 2003, and the first kits were delivered in September of 2003. So it has a pretty significant history. There's over 1,000 RV-10s flying. And hopefully, if there's some sort of design problem with the RV-10, one of these 1,000 other people are going to find it first. Like I said, one of the things you're buying is this user base in history. Okay, that's pretty much it for this video. If you want to recommend this video to people with similar interests, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. That will tell the YouTube algorithm to start recommending this video to other people. Also, in terms of comments, certainly any additions and corrections, definitely add those. I'd be curious on your opinion about this PowerPoint format versus more of a chat type format. So far, I'm liking the PowerPoint format pretty well. In the next several videos, we'll be using the same type format. And of course, if you have any problems with audio or video quality, definitely leave a comment. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.